Have you ever had the feeling that you're not fully in control of your life? Not because someone else is pulling the strings, but because something within you is. Something silent, something buried, something powerful. We like to think we know ourselves, that our choices come from a clear place of reason and intention. But what if that isn't true? What if a large part of you remains hidden even from your own awareness? This is the idea at the heart of Carl Jung's concept of the shadow. But this video isn't just about psychology. It's about self-discovery, transformation, and the uncomfortable truth that what we reject within us doesn't just disappear. It waits, it watches, and often it acts. Let's go deeper. From childhood, we are taught to present only the best parts of ourselves. Be polite, be kind, be strong, be successful. What happens to the rest? To the messy, angry, scared, jealous, wild, insecure, impulsive parts? We bury them deep. We create a mask, a polished version of who we think we should be. This mask becomes our persona. And the parts we hide, they become our shadow. The more we try to be perfect, the larger the shadow grows. And the irony, the very traits we try hardest to hide are often the ones that quietly drive our behavior. Have you ever exploded in anger and wondered, where did that come from? Or judged someone harshly, only to later realize you were projecting your own insecurities? That's the shadow. It doesn't go away because you ignore it. It grows stronger. The shadow can show up in subtle and not so subtle ways. In envy toward those who embody traits we suppress. In self-sabotage when success feels unsafe or unfamiliar. In compulsions and addictions that distract us from uncomfortable truths. It might sound dark, but the shadow isn't inherently evil. It's simply what is unknown or unacceptable to your conscious mind. In fact, within the shadow lie tremendous gifts: creativity, passion, intuition, assertiveness, resilience. But because we were taught to fear or reject these traits, we exile them. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." There's a reason most people never face their shadow. It's terrifying. Imagine this. What if the parts of yourself you're most ashamed of were not mistakes, but messages? What if your anger, your fear, your envy, the emotions you've tried to bury were not flaws to be fixed, but maps pointing toward your purpose? In this video, we'll dive into one of the most powerful and misunderstood ideas in modern psychology, Carl Jung's concept of the shadow. But this isn't just a lecture on theory. This is an invitation to transformation. By the end, you won't just understand your shadow, you'll know how to work with it, listen to it, and ultimately integrate it into the deepest parts of who you are. And trust me, the final insight might just change the way you see your entire life. Let's begin. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and pioneer of depth psychology, once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The shadow is Jung's name for everything within us that we reject, deny, suppress, or disown. It's the impulses we find unacceptable, the traits we've buried, and the raw emotional energy we don't want others or even ourselves to see. But here's the paradox. What you push down doesn't disappear. It just hides and waits. The shadow isn't just made of darkness. It holds power, creativity, and potential. Buried in your shame might be your most authentic voice. Hidden in your jealousy may lie a dream you've been too afraid to claim. The shadow isn't the villain of your story. It's the part of you that has gone unloved. Have you ever reacted way too strongly to someone's behavior? Maybe even shocked yourself? That's the shadow, peeking out through projection. Projection is when we see in others the traits we can't bear to admit in ourselves. The arrogant coworker, the needy friend, the selfish sibling sometimes. The traits we despise in others reflect the pieces of ourselves we've exiled. Jung warned us, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So here's a question worth pausing on. Who triggers you the most? And what might that say about you? Think of your shadow like a beach ball underwater. You can push it down for a while. You can hold it with all your might. But eventually, it bursts to the surface, often explosively. Repression isn't resolution, and avoidance isn't healing. The more we pretend these parts of ourselves don't exist, the more they control us in the background. Addiction, sabotage, chronic anxiety. These are often symptoms of disowned parts of the self crying for attention. But what if, instead of pushing the shadow down, you reached out your hand to it? Shadow work doesn't mean acting out your darkest impulses. It means bringing awareness to the parts of yourself you've been afraid to feel. Integration is the process of making peace with your inner exiles. It's the path from fragmentation to wholeness. Here's where you start. 1. Notice your triggers. What irritates you? disgusts you, or fills you with envy. These emotional reactions are golden clues to your shadow. 2. Ask questions. What part of me am I rejecting? What have I labeled bad that might actually be powerful? 3. Journal your inner dialogue. Let your shadow speak. Write without filters. No judgment, just curiosity. 4. Practice radical honesty. Name your feelings, own them, especially the ones that feel unacceptable. When you begin to accept your shadow, you reclaim the energy it once took to hide it. That energy can fuel your growth, your creativity, and most of all, your purpose. Let's be real. This work is not easy. Facing your shadow means confronting pain you've avoided for years, even decades. It means seeing yourself not just as the hero, but as the villain too. But here's the secret. Every mythological hero, from Hercules to Harry Potter, goes through a descent. They face a dragon, a labyrinth, or a darkness within themselves. And only after that confrontation do they return with the treasure. Your life is no different. If you want to live with purpose, you must descend into yourself. Because only there, in the dark, forgotten corners of your being, will you find the parts of you that are most alive. The shadow isn't just a source of pain. It's also the birthplace of your art. Frida Kahlo painted her trauma. Beethoven channeled rage into symphonies. Even Carl Jung created his Red Book, an illustrated journal of his own unconscious experiences. If you've ever felt blocked creatively, ask yourself, what am I afraid to express? What would I say or create if no one judged me, not even myself? Creativity is the language of the shadow. Let it speak. Our most intimate relationships, friends, family, partners, often trigger our deepest shadows. Why? Because they reflect back the parts of ourselves we haven't integrated. The controlling parent, the needy partner, the emotionally distant friend. Ask yourself, what part of them feels familiar? What part of you are they mirroring? When you become aware of these reflections, relationships stop being battlefields and start becoming classrooms. Spirituality isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. To truly evolve, we must face our inner contradictions, our hidden wounds, and our unresolved fears. That's where the real work and the real liberation begins. Now, we arrive at the heart of it all. What if your purpose isn't something you chase outside yourself? What if it's something you uncover? by turning inward. Many people search endlessly for meaning in careers, relationships, accomplishments. But purpose is not a role, it's a state of alignment. And alignment comes when you are no longer at war with yourself, when your light and your shadow are on the same team. That's when life stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like a calling. So, here's the invitation. Go into the dark, not to get lost, but to find yourself. Ask the questions you've been afraid to ask. Listen to the feelings you've ignored. And above all, love the parts of yourself that you've pushed away, because that's where your power lives. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your deepest ally, waiting for your courage. And when you walk with it, instead of running from it, you will find something extraordinary. You, whole, authentic, unstoppable. Thank you for watching. If this journey into the shadow resonated with you, share your insights in the comments. What part of this exploration lit something up in you? This is just the beginning. A journey of depth, truth, and the fierce beauty of becoming fully yourself. See you in the next one.